Nigeria's is confronting one of its deadliest waves of violence in recent memory. In the central state of Kwara, suspected Islamist militants attacked the remote villages of Woro and Nuku, killing at least 170 people and destroying homes and shops, marking one of the most lethal assaults so far this year. President Bola Tinubu has deployed an army battalion to the region as fears grow that jihadist factions are pushing southwards towards strategic areas like the Kainji forest. In a separate incident in northern Nigeria's Katsina state, gunmen killed at least 20 people, underlining the breadth of the insecurity facing the country at this time. To unpack what this means for Nigeria's internal security and broader stability across West and Central Africa, we now speak to Abuja-based security and intelligence analyst Chidi Omeje, who's the publisher and editor-in-chief of Security Digest. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, Chidi. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, and good morning.
Chidi, listening to these reports, 170 villagers killed, which is being seen as the bloodiest assault in this part of Nigeria this year. What's your immediate assessment of what has happened?
Well, the news got to us quite very shocking, and the area that this thing happened, it began to appear as one of the epicenters of these new waves of attack. Kwara State is within what we call North Central region of Nigeria, quite away from the epicenter of Boko Haram crisis in the far northeast, and of course the areas where you had the bandits, dealing with the people up north in the northwest. So Kwara State, like you rightly said in your intro, is just a corridor to the south. So the attack was firstly, we thought it was the usual bandits that are plundering that particular area, economic scoundrels who do this and that to get some resources. But this one looked quite coordinated, and it was quite obvious that it is far beyond the economic plunderers, those who kidnap for ransom and all that. This one appeared like, quite coordinated, like the terrorists we have, like Boko Haram and the ISWAP in the northeast. So later on, news filtered in that there's a convergence, with the Boko Haram people operating in the northeast. So the Kwara incident was a root shock to everybody, especially when we understand that the communities there, when let me give you a background. The community actually got a letter from the sect to say that look, they're going to come around to espouse their own brand of Islam. So when the community leader got the information, he promptly reported to the security agency, to the government, and it does appear that that particular action he took was what infuriated these guys, and then when they came, they unleashed mayhem. But another thing again is that when they came that particular fateful day around 5 p.m., the community leader promptly informed the security agencies around. But do you know that it took these guys almost about 10 hours, freedom of attack? They were just attacking these guys for over 10 hours, and there was no response from the state, meaning that, probably the problem was probably an issue of access, because I understand that the place was more like an ungoverned space. There's not much presence of government in that particular area. So there are a lot of issues happening in this country that we find quite infuriating, especially when the community reported this incident and there was nobody to come to assist them for close to 10 hours, while these guys had free reign to unleash mayhem, to kill as many. Look, the figures we're getting is that it is far beyond 170 that you mentioned. It could be up to 200, going to 300. as we speak now, people they're still, going around the forest looking for bodies, and they're picking bodies up to this morning. So as we speak now, we don't really know how many were killed, but it was such a terrible thing, I must tell you. Yeah.
So residents and local authorities say that the gunmen had been preaching in the villages before they struck, urging locals to reject the Nigerian state and adopt extremist rule. And my question then becomes, what does this tell us about how the militant groups are recruiting and also embedding themselves in these communities?
That's something that's a very significant part of the story, because it's quite almost the same as what we see in Boko Haram, those guys in the northeast that say that that they do not believe in Western civilization, and they do not believe in education. So these particular ones, we understand that their brand of Islam is the type that they do not want having to do with government. So they were preaching to the people that look, that say they should align with their kind of the brand of Islam. But the people vehemently refuse. They don't want to have such people around them. So these things are just telltale signs of weak institutions and government. Because if you had a strong government, if you had a government that really understand the gravity of the situation, this thing would have been nipped in the bud. But like I told you, even when they arrived, the locals there try to inform the government that strange people are here and they're about to attack them, and it took them 10 hours to come. By the time the military guys or whatever came over there, the attackers had left. So people were left to their own devices, and of course they fell victims. So these things are just incredible. And I must tell you that part of the issues we're having right here in the country, especially the north, is the terrible politics in the terrible geopolitics in the Sahel region. Most of these guys are actually seeping into our country, and most of them are not Nigerians. I must tell you, because the issue of porous borders and uncontrolled influx of people from that region is giving us a very serious concern, because we are not able to have a whole of the situation. You have a lot of ungoverned spaces. You have a lot of people, influx of people from the Sahel, displaced in Burkina Faso and Mali and all those places. They are trooping in here, and it does appear that the governments are overwhelmed. So this is the situation.
Being overwhelmed. President Tinubu has ordered the deployment of an army battalion and announced a new military operation aimed at protecting these remote communities. My question to you is, the full might of the Nigerian army, why is it failing to manage these groups? Are they so sophisticated and so advanced, or is it just that Nigeria is such a big country that the country's army just cannot protect its citizens?
Yeah, I think I want to agree with the last one. You see, the problem is this, that as we speak right now, the Nigerian armed forces are, as far as I'm concerned, are completely outstretched, but thankfully not overwhelmed at the moment. But they are, they are taxed with every internal security challenge. You have to call the Nigerian military. If you have kidnapping issue, you look towards the Nigerian military. We have border issue, look at Nigerian military. So I think that the problem is that of the fact that the Nigerian military are completely overstretched. They are deployed in almost all the 36 states of the federation. In every part of this country, you will see Nigerian military being deployed. Meanwhile, the police, the civilian police, much more interested in what they call VIP protection. So, but ordinarily in our constitution, the Nigerian police is supposed to be the lead agency in dealing with internal security challenges. But because of laziness, because of people not making use of not actually doing things the way it's supposed to be, now we're now relying on the Nigerian military to deal with all these situations. And let me tell you, Nigeria is such a vast country in terms of ungoverned spaces that are here and there, in terms of forests that are completely unmanned, so that these guys have sanctuaries where they hide, sleeper cells, and where they reactivate at any point in time to attack unsuspecting people. So the Nigerian military, as far as I'm concerned, have done quite a lot. They've done well, but the issue has come to the point that they are almost completely, overstretched. But like I said, thankfully they're not overwhelmed yet, because the moment they get overwhelmed, it means that they won't be able to take hold of the situation. But as we speak, the area we have this attack are not the only places that we're having concerns. There are plenty places that are propping up in the northeast, where you have Boko Haram and ISWAP operating, in the northwest, where you have these cross-border bandits, the Lakaruas and Mamudas and everything. Then, of course, in North Central, where we are talking about, we are now seeing this resurgence. So the thing is that Nigeria really have, serious issues on the hand. And Mr. President, well, I wish him well, but I think he's lacking the political will to deal with this situation. This is not, the man is known for his adroitness in playing politics, but he has not brought that to bear in terms of governance. We are looking for, we expected somebody who have that political will, who have that strength of character to deal with this situation without minding whose ox is guard. But so far we've seen that happen yet. So Nigerians are left to their own devices as it is. Every day you hear issues of kidnap and all manner of things. I mean, it doesn't inspire hope at all. But then we believe that things will be better tomorrow.
Chidi, perhaps as a final question, looking longer term, what do you think must change politically, economically, or maybe even socially to prevent villages like this from becoming recurrent targets and to build some kind of resilience in affected regions? And I wonder if the army, instead of just might, also need to work on intelligence gathering.
Certainly, intelligence gathering is key. We have advocated quite a number of times that we need to take the issue of intelligence gathering quite seriously, because most of these incidents could actually be nipped in the bud through effective intelligence gathering effort, especially making use of the members of the communities. Look, there was a time we did what we call root cause analysis on some of these issues, and of course, the recurrent factor is the issue of bad governance, mostly, especially because it's bad governance that bring to bear all these ineffectiveness in terms of corruption, ineptitude, vindictive, all manner of things that are have exposed people to their devices. I have made people to see crime as an alternative way of living life. People, I must tell you, it's not easy for Nigerians economically. It's not easy for Nigerians in terms of, administration of criminal justice system. So all these things are combined together to, make exacerbate the situation. But like we always say, we believe that, Nigerians must understand that this issue is far beyond the type that would live for the government. We must come together to make sure we retrieve our country back. Otherwise, nobody, not the entire region will be engulfed. If Nigeria have issue, there's no part of West Africa, separate region, even the entire Africa. We're talking about almost about 260 million people. Where would they go if there is an implosion to this extent? So this matter must be taken seriously beyond Nigeria, even beyond the region.
Chidi,
there must be a concerted effort.
Yeah. We're going to have to leave it there, unfortunately, but thank you so much indeed for that in-depth analysis that you've been able to give us about the situation in the country. Thank you so much indeed. Great talking to you, Chidi.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.
That's Chidi Omeje, Abuja-based security and intelligence analyst, speaking to us about these recent deadly attacks in Nigeria, in Kwara and Katsina states. In one of them, 170 people, and that number could be much more. Listening to Chidi there, explaining to us what's been happening in the situation there.